these accusations all around the space that Hex is actually a scam, a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme. So I want to know what Ivan thinks about, before asking you, I would like to know what Ivan thinks about Hex.
Yeah. Well, many people call Hex Ponzi and scam. I don't agree with that. I mean, if anything...
Richard Hart is very transparent. He said, Hex does exactly what it's supposed to do. You deposit Hex, through this mechanism, it gets burnt, you earn more Hex, you earn this interest in Hex, and it does what it's supposed to do. It's had many security audits, contract audits, and whatever else. It's passed every single one of them. It's never ever been hacked, and every single user that's ever bought Hex so far has made money, or most users that have bought and staked Hex have made money. That's not a scam. He delivered working software, which does exactly what he promised the working software would do, and now people have the right to decide what they want to do.
The reality is we won't know until we start to see network effects. Do developers build on it? Do people want to invest in it? Does it create solutions that people understand? And that, that's true of all of these things, whether it's Polkadot or Cardano or Hex or, you name it, we don't know. We don't know. These are big ideas. They're all big ideas. Which one works? Which one gets traction? We're going to have to find out. And that's half the fun of this space. Everybody can play the VC.
Let's ask Mr. Boy of Bit what Hex can do. He knows.
Okay.
He knows how good Hex is.
Mr. Boy of Bit.
Mr. Boy of Bit.
Take
Yeah,
it away.
Yeah. So the truth is, and this is what I've talked about on some shows before. I made a lot of money with it.
What's going on? It's the Hex Late Show. It's 43 OG on a Tuesday night in Melbourne. I've got the crew out the back. We've got a great show for you tonight where Jex is going to be a bit late. Tangents, always late. And let's see. Let's get Bluey. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man. I'm good. I'm
What
excellent,
is going
actually.
on? Did you go through that clip?
Yeah, I did. And you know what? Raoul is like spot on. I've got to say, I got onto one little kind of, not even an argument. I called Raoul a liar on Twitter once, and he actually responded. And I called him a liar because he said he's not interested in yield. And I was just like, what? What? That's got to be a lie. You're not interested in yield? And he said, his argument was, no, I'm interested in like price going up kind of thing, like value going up or something like that. And I was like, well, Hex has done that as well. But he like, there's so many things I like about Raoul, and I just, and he just let it slip that time when he mentioned Hex, that he is aware of it and stuff.
It's almost
but
like
for some reason,
he thought about whether he wanted to say it or not. He said it though. He said it, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've always liked his analysis, although I don't understand what, like, he seems to be such a person who will speak openly and honestly about things. And I just don't understand this kind of resistance to Hex. But like, yeah, like that was spot on what he was saying. We can all be VCs, and it's gonna, like, what is gonna take traction? The thing that people understand and that they use.
But he also said that it was a big idea. Like Hex is a big idea. It's like an acknowledgement that this contract is not just some, bullshit little scam that, it gets represented like that all over the internet all the time.
Hey,
all over Twitter.
And he also said what's going to be built upon. And we've seen that out of all of those three things that he said, Hex is the thing that's being built upon.
Yeah.
And we're seeing, like Hex was the game that's been played down. Richard set up the board. Hedron came along and put the next piece on the board. Maxi came along and put the next piece on the board. And it's just going to keep going. Like like Dipcatcher has got other ideas cooking away in his head. And I'm not sure exactly what they are. He's hinted at a couple of things, but we're just going to keep seeing stuff placed on this board.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, we were having a sort of an interesting discussion before the stream started. We were talking about swearing and like whether like we were just talking about, I was saying like my experience with my kids and making a concerted effort not to swear in front of them, but occasionally you might stub your toe and something slips out. And I was saying how with my kids, I just say I say, look, mainly with my eldest, because the younger ones, they're too young for it to even be an issue. But my eldest, he's at school, and I just said to him, look, I don't want to ever hear you saying words like that in front of me. So to me, that's enough, because if he's smart enough to work out around certain people, I can't say these words, then he's got that capacity to do that around anyone, right? So for me, that's enough, because it's unrealistic to think that people aren't going to hear words and never going to say them. Like if he's around, when he gets older, he's around his mates. Like, are you going to tell me that, like, who has never sworn in their life? Like, it's just not realistic, right?
Yeah,
Everyone.
exactly. And I want to say, hey guys, hey everybody, good to see everyone. Just in regards to swearing, I have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old, and I never liked to hear them swearing. They were little, I didn't swear around them, and I really didn't like them swearing. But when you have a lot of people, a lot of friends, not to boast, but my neighbor used to come over and he was, see you next Tuesday, and I was cringing, and I'm going, oh my God. And I said to my girlfriend, oh my God, like this guy swears. I can't really say don't swear, he's our mate. It's like, I just make faces at him. She goes, well, they're going to hear it anyway. I go, I know, but I don't like it. So yeah, anyway, in general, I don't like it, but they're going to hear it. So what do you do about it?
Is my mic a little bit low, is it? Let me see.
It sounds good when you put your mouth up to it. I mean, it sounds good now. I think it's fine.
That's what all the ladies say, mate.
Oh, look, I find the whole swearing thing absolutely fascinating, and I find it fascinating in how much it seems to divide society. Like we saw with that little like KNTX poll that he did on Twitter, or whatever, like that, and it really was divided half. And there are people who find it so difficult, like, to hear people swearing. And I've always really loved swearing, and I've always really think it should be celebrated. Like these words have it adds such color to conversation, in my opinion. Like they're such flexible words and how you use them in context, and like someone who's swearing.
They're only good because there's a portion of the population that don't like hearing them.
Yeah, and it's so funny because those people are actually the ones giving it power. Like as soon as you have such a reaction to something and want to force people to stop using it, that's what's actually giving it power. And I've thought often about why people hate swearing so much. And what my guess is that they repress it in themselves. And so when they hear other people doing it, they think, you're not allowed to do that. I'm spending all this energy repressing that and trying to not say it.
But that's a good skill to have. So can I
repress?
No. It's a good skill to be able to not say stuff. It's like we don't need there are certain situations where we don't, what if that makes someone uncomfortable? Like if it really makes them uncomfortable, and fair call, Blue Bomb, you might believe that them feeling uncomfortable is shit and they shouldn't feel uncomfortable about it. But, in some situations, it's not all about, pushing everyone's boundaries. If you're at a wedding, right, maybe it's not the best. And the bride and the groom are walking down, and you're in a church or something, maybe it's not the best time to be like, swearing out loud to people. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good thing to be able to turn it off.
At school,
look, absolutely.
At work,
Look,
your boss, you don't swear at your boss or something.
Oh, look, there's plenty of times that I repress it in myself.
Yeah,
There's plenty of times that I'm not saying that I swear, like I'm completely open and I swear and say whatever I want to say completely. I adjust to whatever the context is. And if it's, if I think I'm going to make someone uncomfortable and I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable, then I will stop myself from saying that. But having said that, when I'm around, when I do feel comfortable in swearing, like I love using it. I love using those words because you can, like, so.
Hey guys, can I ask, did you ever get your mouth washed out with soap when you were little for swearing?
Nope.
I did.
No.
That's probably why I really try not to do it, but I do. I swear like a sailor when I'm around my mates. It's terrible. But,
I bet you do, Sammy. I bet you do.
Can I just say, getting your mouth washed out with soap is such an like 80s, 70s, 80s kid thing to have done to you. Like,
I wash my
what
kids
used to
out
happen.
with soap too. I did wash one of my kids' mouth out with soap.
Oh, really?
It's also
can I just say that is classified as abuse these days? That is seriously abuse.
I was lying. It was
You're gonna take your kids off this. Can't do that shit.
Yeah, so what's going on with Hex? What's it looking like after the big dumpery today?
Has it climbed back? I haven't looked this morning.
Hey, just before we move on, speaking of like what is acceptable as a parent nowadays, it's not wasn't acceptable. Well, was acceptable back in the day and not acceptable now. Like, come on, washing your kid's mouth out with soap, acceptable back in the day, totally not acceptable these days, right? You cannot do that shit. What else?
Spanking. Well, even spanking, you can get.
I had shit like my parents, like old school Italian, as old school as they can be. Old school Italians, like, not think twice, have hit me over the head with a wooden spoon back in the day. And I deserved them all. Definitely, like, but I can't bring myself to, it's like,
my mum once started chasing my sister around the house with a wooden spoon to try to spank her. And after about a few minutes, they ended up just both cracking up laughing.
Oh my god! I got spanked with the spoon, the moccasin, the hand.
I've had a moccasin thrown across the living room at my head.
The belt. The dad would get his belt out, but I mean, if you're a good parent, you would spank your kid at least once. I know I've spanked, and maybe it's not so acceptable, but some kids deserve it. They get too old to get spanked, though. I
went to a school where the strap was still like and the cane was still in use while I was in high school, right? So
when I started,
I had
in high school.
In high school. So I had a friend, and they used to six of the best, right? So I had a friend, like, this is what I'll tell you a story about a mate of mine in high school. We'd just done sport, and after sport, it was like winter, so we all got onto the bus, and like after everyone's like still sweating from sport and stuff, so all the windows got all foggy, and my mate was like at the back of the bus, and just like everyone was like writing like fuck FUCK backwards on the window, so that anyone reading it on the outside would like read it correct.
I get it.
And everyone was just like writing little ones. My mate like got up and just the back window, just wrote this massive like FUCK at the back. and the teacher just got on where it goes, right, who did that? And he was like sitting on the back row, and I shit you not, like all the kids on both sides just moved aside and just left him by himself. Like just slid across. He's just sitting. All of a sudden, there was like 7 kids on that seat at the back, and he looked like the only kid on that seat. And he got he got the cane for that. He got 6 canes on the not on his ass, on the back of his like the upper legs. The hamstrings.
But that was private school, 43.
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember when I started primary school at public school, it was just being phased out. Because I know
Yeah.
a few kids that got it, but yeah, it was getting phased out. So I don't know how they would have managed it because it was like going illegal when I started school. Thank God.
They had to get like when I remember when with my school, the parents had to sign a waiver saying that it was okay for them to do it if but they ring the parents first anyway. They rang the
Yeah.
parents first and said, "Oh, we're going to do this, and the punishment's this." Otherwise,
I wouldn't be
it's like
signing
this is the
myself.
this is what they say to the parents, right? The parents who have paid like thousands of dollars for tuition. They're like, "Hey, this is the punishment, or is expelled." And the parents are like, that's a lot of money.
We're gonna find a new school, and like.
I would never
Oh, man.
consent to my kids being spanked. I think discipline should stay in the home and should be a private thing. And I'm not talking abuse. I'm talking discipline.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about what the chart is doing. The chart of Hex, it's sort of like been a bit volatile in the last like week or two, hasn't it? It's been like up and down. It got all the way
So
up.
are we under 10 cents right now?
I don't
No,
know.
at 11.
Oh no, it's
11.
11.5.
We did drop
See, because
down.
I was looking at Desktop Vision, and that says 9.9 cents. But maybe it's like, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah,
Let's have a
Desktop
look.
Vision says 9.9 cents, but Nomic says 11.5 cents.
Let's have a look. I'm going to look at Desktop Vision, and I've got 11.5.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh,
So
for the Hex USD price.
USDC.
What am I looking at?
Hex USDC.
Yeah, USDC. So what on earth am I?
So
I'm
that's-
looking at USD.
that's,
No, I'm looking at the calculated on V1. That's why.
Well, I'm on
Yeah,
Staker.
yeah.
It's 11.5 on Staker.
Yeah,
Okay, here we
11.5.
go.
But it did drop down to like 8.5 cents. Very like for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Like not even 1 minute. On the 1 minute time scale, it wicked down and then back up. But it's sort of like the cheapest you would have been able to get it probably was about 10 cents. And then
But you know what? If someone wants to jump on V1, you can get it for 9.9 cents right now. I don't know how much liquidity there is.
Jexa.
Hey, Jexa.
Yeah.
How are we all? I've
Good.
tuned in. I switched on the YouTube just to hear about people belting their kids.
Yeah.
That was me. You bastard.
Jeez, I was going to say things are getting pretty grim when there's not much happening in the
So-
market.
so
We've resorted to
you've come on to tell us all about what you do.
Or to swear at us.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold a grudge against anyone for swearing. I've been known to drop a few around now my daughters, so yeah, they're picking up a few good habits.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all good. Hey, I was just you're just looking at price and stuff. You know, I've been really impressed with is Maxi. Man, that just keeps holding its price up, doesn't it?
I know. It's holding its premium.
Yeah,
It's like
the
70%.
premium keeps going up.
Yeah.
80%. Oh,
Is
sorry,
it 80% now?
Well, that's including obviously you got the Hedron sort of rolled into that as well. But yeah, it's 1.8 at the moment. That's pretty crazy. It doesn't seem to be like when there's a sell-off, doesn't seem to have the same sell-off. So
it's funny. I was on Hex Asians last night, and D-Raj was saying how he doesn't understand why it's attracted so much, and he thinks it's because people don't understand it. And we're getting into the conversation a bit, and I said, well, it's because it's in the liquidity. You know, you can take a little bit out whenever, and da da da. And then he was saying, yeah, listen, I did print my Maxi, and I'm still holding it. I haven't sold it. And I was like, so you're doing the exact behavior that you supposedly don't understand. So there's this kind of, it's interesting, hey, there's this separation between understanding something and what you actually do. And maybe a lot of people are kind of, this is crazy, but I'm not selling it.
Well, at the moment, it's a limited resource to some degree.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Like there was a one-time event where you could mint that, and now you can't do that. And the only way you can do it is buy it off market, and there's really not a great deal of it. So I think it's
and the
one
thing
of those
is, the thing is, even though the price is in a bubble, and we'll have to eventually pop, whether it's the day before the stake comes out, or it might be in 5 years or 10 years or whenever.
Do you think pop is?
It has to. It has to eventually. The day before it's due, it will have to come, or it'll
come to equilibrium.
That stake, it'll have to come to equilibrium.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to, but that's what the market would suggest.
It doesn't have to, but everyone will be selling it. Everyone will be selling it by a week
you're
before.
Making the assumption that the premium is going to keep increasing at this rate for the life of what could happen.
Even if it stays.
No, if it stays at 1.8, eventually the value of the inflation that's paid to the stake will catch up to that 1.8.
Yeah, but if the premium keeps like the same
ratcheting up,
the same amount of premium as it's going, because that's what's happening at the moment.
No,
it's keeping the same amount of premium, even though the value is going up.
Yeah, but but what I'm saying is you're assuming that's going to continue into the future until the end of the stake. That there's always going to be like more and more and more and more premium.
No. I'm assuming if the premium
when they calculate, if they can calculate what that premium is going to be at the end of the stake, the closer you get to the end of the stake, it might be that once that's known, or at least in part, like they've got an idea, maybe people will stop like putting that premium on at that point, and it will just reach that point and just stay there. Can I just shout? Sorry, I'll let you respond in a second. I just want to shout out to JFK666 for the $2 for the super chat. This is a Hex Late Show S&M session, and you're welcome to participate.
S&M?
Yeah.
Hang on, what room am I just stepped into?
How much is Maxi at the moment, guys? I can never find it when I'm trying to look for the price.
Just go to the Maximus.cash website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so at the moment at 21
there's
cents.
A dashboard.
It's at 21 cents, but if you put it into pricing in Hex, that sort of gives you an idea of how much above
it's 1.81 Hex at the moment.
Yeah.
So you could say, okay, well this is like 2 years in. That's a 2-year in price. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
but it's like everything. At the moment, sentiment is it's trading at a premium, which you would think it should continue to trade at NAV or maybe at a slight premium. But will it trade at this sort of premium all the time? I don't think so. I think there'll be
at some point it'll have to come down.
There'll be a change in sentiment. Everything's sentiment. So at the moment, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm hoarding it. It's all good." But you get someone that thunders the price down, and sentiment will change really, really quickly. Will it go below NAV? That's another thing.
But there's people waiting on the sidelines who are just willing to. I mean, I could see it going. I could see the premium going up and down, like between like 20% premium to 50% premium. But then towards the end, as we get closer towards the end of the stake, then it'll come down to what the actual value will be.
NAV, yeah. Which is that's the way it should work. It's just
if you want to check all of that stuff, they've got a really great dashboard. And the Maximus.cash, and you press dashboard, and you can also look at the chart on there as well. And so if you want to see how much of a premium it's going for, but like I would suggest if the premium starts dropping even to 20%, it's probably a good buy. This early.
Yeah. The benefits of having access to a 15-year stake, but with the liquidity, it's pretty attractive. I don't know that it's as attractive as what the premium's suggesting at the moment. But
well, last week Tangent was saying if it hits like a 2 hex per, 2
like 100% premium.
Yeah, he was going to be 90% out. So that must be why he's not here. He must be sick because it's
sitting there watching the charts.
He's selling. He's like selling, pressing the sell button right now.
You could regret that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
so the thing is, if you're sitting in liquid hex, like, okay, if you go and make a stake or an HSI or a hex stake, but if you're just sitting there in liquid hex, like, you're not getting anywhere near as good a deal as Maxi.
No, and the problem is, like, for people now, if you're sitting in liquid hex, I wouldn't go and swap it for Maxi now.
Not at this premium, no.
Not at this premium, no.
Yeah,
but there's obviously demand.
People can do what the fuck they like, eh?
Oh yeah, do it. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if people see value in that shit, they're gonna.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
Hold it for 15 years.
People obviously are seeing value.
I'm not saying go do it, but if you do your own research and you find that that's what you want to do, hey, the next Maxi, the next contract they do is not going to have the same share rate as this.
Exactly. Yep.
There might also be the perception that holding Maxi over the fork is better than holding Hex over the fork in terms of how much it will retain value. Because
I would have argued. I would have argued it wouldn't have mattered. But hey, we've just seen over the past couple of weeks where prices moved down on Hex and Maxi hasn't. So maybe there's something in there.
Yeah, and then the Maxi premium doesn't look like it's too volatile, whereas Hex price is a bit more volatile. And so what happens after the fork? Do people dump their Ethereum Hex? Maybe they won't be as inclined to dump their Ethereum Maxi. I mean, it's all conjecture, and who knows?
Yeah, but this comes down to what I was saying. There's a smaller pool of people that own Maxi, and if it just so happens that pool of people that went into Maxi have overall a different mindset in terms of holding, as in they're not looking for that quick exit. The reality is there might not be enough of it on the market to satisfy the demand.
Yeah, and obviously not as much liquidity. Like you could dump $1 million worth of Hex and not move the price too much, it seems. Hey,
this is a good point from Retrostatic. Oh, I got the wrong one. Try that one there. Remember, a small Hex bag cannot afford to stake. So if you've only got a very small Hex bag or a small amount of Maxi, it's probably not worth your while end staking, getting that premium and then restake. It's still not going to be worth your while because of the fees. And that is one of the big upsides to Maxi, is that those fees, either one of the big whales is going to pay the end stake fee, or there's going to be some sort of, probably going to be some sort of contract that will.
I actually suggested a party, because it's definitely going to be a party for the ending of that stake, and I think you just charge a ticket price, and like that goes towards ending the stake, and you end the stake at the party. I think that'd be a great way to end that stake.
Yeah. So even though now, like there's in the chat, I can see that someone said that staking now is only $11. It's like gas is quite cheap at the moment. This is true, but the end stake is still going to be expensive.
That's the thing that crushes you.
That end stake is that wasn't the case when and some of the newer people to Hex maybe don't know the history of this, but end staking used to be quite cheap on Ethereum. Even with gas prices as they are, like now, they used to be quite cheap. But what happened is, the Ethereum actually changed their code to make some certain functions more expensive. So they basically changed the way Ethereum works completely. As far as what they're charging, the cost of everything, and it really put Hex in a difficult spot, because Hex is very it reads from the blockchain quite a bit, and writes. So anyway, that was the instigation. Yeah,
that was the instigation for Pulse, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That was my that's how I was going to segue into us talking about PulseChain and this. I was getting there slowly. So yeah, we've got a new blockchain that's coming out soon to all the newbies who are listening tonight. Does Jexa, do you want to give us a rundown of what is going on with this new Ethereum fork and all this massive airdrop that's about to happen?
Yeah, so if there are people here listening for the first time or are new to the whole PulseChain side of things, as Dave 43 alluded to, gas got a little bit out of control on the Ethereum network and has broken many, many projects. So to protect Hex users, Richard Hart decided to launch his own chain called PulseChain. And that was going to be not custom built, but was going to make sure that the Hex code was able to run in an environment that was more suitable for what it needed. Now, he could have just created a blank blockchain, fired up Hex on that blockchain, and all the happy hexagons would have come across and happy days would have been on our own chain. But there was I guess, a lot bigger opportunity there where we could actually take everything that exists on the Ethereum network, including Hex, and port that across to this new chain. And many said, myself included, this is impossible. He's a lunatic. Why would he even try?
Before you go on with that, when you say take everything off Ethereum, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about like Chainlink? Like, are they going to get a copy of something on Ethereum? Are we talking Shiba Inu? Are they
everything's got to come across. So whether the
every
communities,
ERC20,
every ERC20, so every smart contract that's ever been launched on Ethereum will come across onto PulseChain. It's like having a Word document and you take a copy of it. Everything that was written in that Word document comes across into the new document. From that point on, once it's been copied, then you can make changes in each, and they'll be their own different versions. But at that one point in time when you do the copy, everything comes across. So if you hold ERC20 tokens on the Ethereum network, you'll get a duplication on the PulseChain network. But it goes a lot deeper than that, really, because the way DeFi has evolved now, we've got all these staking protocols and locked value in different protocols, and all that's coming across as well. So it's not just liquid balances. Now, like I was saying, this is a pretty audacious thing to do, really. And I honestly didn't think, when Richard started talking about it, I said, there's no way he's going to do it. Everything's just going to break. It's going to be a disaster. It's not possible. But he's having a good hard crack at it, and the chain's up and running. We've all seen it operating in a test net.
Stuff that breaks, right?
Oh, definitely.
But that's really going to be an indication to everyone out there of what is truly decentralized. You know, what is true DeFi out there? The stuff that breaks and relies very heavily on a team, you know, going into work every day and keeping it going. You know, this experiment, you know, for lack of a better word, is going to expose those projects. It's going to expose them, because unless they're working, unless you can just go in and, you know, use the contract. My mic's low. Is my mic still low?
Yeah, the volume just suddenly went down when you started talking that time.
What about now? Is that better?
That's good. That's much. Yeah, that's much better. Yeah.
Okay, I put myself up. There we go. Yeah, so it's gonna. I think this is going to expose those projects that haven't been designed in a way that allows them to function without a team behind it. So that's the beauty of Hex. You know, there are already multiple front ends for the Hex contract, and I believe that a lot of these front ends are already going to be ready to go on Pulse when Pulse launches. I know that the Staker team have talked about you know, being ready for the change. If you go to like websites, for example, there's apphex.win. That's a website that allows you to, interact with the Hex contract. That is also Pulse ready. I've seen a tab there that shows you it's ready for the Pulse information. It also gives like Pulse sacrifice information. There's other websites as well. There's that one called Backup Hex. Is that
Yep.
There's is that backuphex.com or backuphex.win? What is that one?
I think it's com.
.com.
Yeah, I think it is .com. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so there's all these front ends, and they're all going to be ready to go. I guarantee you, they're all going to be ready to go when Pulse drops. When the Pulse network drops, you'll be able to use Hex on the Pulse network immediately.
We know we can already. The go.hex.com site, that's all operational, so you know that you can on testnet. You can interact with all your stakes, and you can do some emergency end staking on testnet just to see what it feels like to ditch half your bag.
Oh, by the way, if you want to go and use the testnet, just go to PulseChain.com. It's PulseChain.com, and you can connect your MetaMask up and get all the details and put in the Pulse testnet into your MetaMask, and then connect up and play around there. Play around with the testnet. It's amazing. It works really well. There was a tweet today by Richard Hart. Did you guys see that? The one talking about that they're going through the auditing process at the moment, and they've found some things that need to be fixed. So they're just working through that, and they're working out which things need to be fixed, which things can be fixed after the launch, and which things need to be fixed prior to the launch. So that's what they're working at now.
Yeah.
So I think we're closer than we've ever been. I'm still skeptical about it launching this month. I know Richard's pretty keen to. If he pulls it off, fantastic. I feel that there's this month slowly slipping away, or quickly slipping away. So maybe we don't hit that particular date. But hey, everyone's been pretty patient anyway. So what's a week or two either way?
Yeah. We could run it next.
Yeah. So on that note, if you're looking for more information on Pulse, I think there's a new, is it Pulse Tube channel that's just popped up as well? That's got all the different streamers that are constantly streaming. And did you see that one come out on Twitter today?
I did see that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So someone I think has just got all the streamers together and put them into one place. So if you're looking for more info, you can head there and watch what shows are coming up live as they come forward.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're definitely seeing a lot more streamers.
Yeah, hell yeah.
A lot more people who are just really concentrated on Pulse.
Yep.
Like it's a real idea that people get and have jumped on board to. A lot more so than when Hex launched, hey?
Oh, hell yeah.
I think there's just so much more opportunity for content as well. Like there's so many projects that are coming forward, and everyone's hungry for the information on what's happening as well. So there's an absolute stack of content that can be made for PulseChain.
I think people see that layer one, like a new layer one, as like much more of a sure thing than they saw Hex. Like for people, I think people saw Hex. It was just a very small percentage of people who saw Hex and saw the value proposition at the beginning and took that, took that chance. Whereas with the layer one, there's so many layer ones, and they all seem to do really, really well when they come out. They all seem to do multiple X's in profit.
But less complicated too than Hex as well. Really, PulseChain is.
To understand.
Well, yeah, I believe it is. It's more, It's just
I see the value proposition as actually easier to understand. With Hex, it seems so simple to me. It's like you get incentivized for people to lock up their money for long periods of time. That takes it out of the supply. You make money on the yield and the price going up. To me, that's just like, and the way they've designed the Hex contract, it's locked off. It can never be changed. Pulse is going to like be another layer one, and like how that accrues value is not as clear. Although it, and you can look at historical, layer ones and how much they've accrued value, and sure, you can compare. But just in terms of the mechanics of how they accrue value, you're going to need, and because the fees are going to be so low at the start, I see Hex as being more simple to understand, but obviously that's not what the general population.
Yeah, so like you're one of the niche. You're one of the people in that niche who understood it early on.
Whoa! Super chat, $20.
Oh,
hey Paladin, how's it going, bro? Yeah.
When you had a look at Matic when it launched, now Matic's timing I think was pretty ideal because they leveraged off of, like, ETH was broken in terms of fees and things like that, so they leveraged off of that narrative of going to layer 2s to be cheaper, which was somewhat true, but you still had massive fees to bridge assets across from the ETH network into Matic, and if you wanted to do anything useful, you had to pull them back off of Matic. The only thing that Matic had really working on it was QuickSwap. So that's why, and just having that one thing over there was enough to drag a lot of users across because they wanted the cheap trading fees, and that chain, in terms of multiples, done really well just off the back of essentially one application on it. We already know that when PulseChain launches, you've got all of the stuff that's on ETH coming across. Some will work, some will won't. But there is, there's got to be 20 or 30 projects that we know of already that are building on PulseChain.
There's more than that.
Yeah.
There's tons more. Someone was telling, I think there's, over 100 or more. I can't remember. People have been writing lists. A few people have been. I think there's a couple of websites you might be able to go to where they're listing them as well. But a lot of them are just like rubbish as well, to be perfectly honest.
And we should issue like a little bit of a warning. I think it's going to be a bit of a honeypot for scammers to come out and try and scam people. We need to expect that. And people should be prepared and very pragmatic about how they go about doing things in the beginning. Obviously do some research, do loads of research on what you're doing. There's going to be a lot of, I'm sure there's going to be like all sorts of people promising airdrops, and then they're going to ask you to jump through all sorts of hoops and do this and do that to get your airdrop. And just be super careful. Just be super careful about what you're doing.
I find it amazing the lengths people will go to get an airdrop. Like the amount of time and energy they'll expend going here, tweeting this, following this, just to get like 50 cents worth of free tokens or something like that.
They automatically lose me when it's like got anything, when it's like when it's not just based on your private, like claiming, just
set up an account and do this and tweet.
When it's got like all this A, B, C, D through other platforms and social media, it's like you lost me. I'm like, I'm not interested.
So if you're going to do
that's what got me into Hex though. Like, and you had to, the airdrop. I had BTC. I was holding BTC.
That's different though. That's
but it is kind of the same. It is like,
but that was a
you did have to jump
airdrop,
through. And you had to jump through quite a few hoops as well. Like, it wasn't simple.
Oh, technically you did. Yeah. No, that's true.
Like, it wasn't about joining Twitter people or social media stuff. It was about you had to assign a private key of your Bitcoin.
So most people who have been in crypto for a while didn't even know that you could sign transactions.
But to me, that's legit. That's legit crypto stuff. to me.
It was.
I know.
It was
You know what I
actually.
mean?
It was
That is
so much
like-
fun.
And not
It was
only
so
is
much
it
fun to
legit
do.
crypto stuff, it
Yeah.
was also you had to learn, and everyone who
Yeah.
had to do that, everyone, like, I'd never used Electrum,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
and then
I had-
you learn Electrum, and then now I know how to use Electrum. I'd never used it before, so
that's the only one I'd used actually.
So,
Electrum. But there was different types as well. Like depending on when you bought your Bitcoin and stuff like that. Like there was different ways to sign depending on what kind of thing you had.
Yeah, no, I think we all learn a lot about how Bitcoin addressing works and all sorts of things, because it wasn't just if you got Bitcoin in a wallet you can claim that. It was if it's spread across multiple addresses that have been joined with your wallet, you had to claim every single one. And so
you had to work out it was safe to do as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people saying that it was like not safe. And it actually was completely safe. It was like the safest signing like a message is like completely safe, you know?
Yeah.
There's a question here. Super chat, high strung super chat for $5. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. He's got a couple of questions here. Will the T-share rate be the same on Pulse? Or will the T-share rate be cheaper? And will T-share rate at fork be the same on Pulse? So I can tell you at the time of the fork, the T-share rate will be exactly the same. Exactly the same. But from that point on, each chain will do their own thing. So we're expecting, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but we're expecting that on the Pulse side, that the T-share rate or the share rate is going to ratchet up slightly more quickly than on Ethereum, because there's going to be more stakes, more things happening, but only to a like. I believe it's going to be a minute, like maybe not even.
Yeah, we've got a lot of rolling stakes going on in Hex on ETH though.
Although both of those have come down since Hedron and Maxi launched. Like a lot of those more rolling stakes have diminished because of those.
I'm still a big believer that a lot of those rolling stakes were the result of people being in a holding pattern. So because it's been 9 or 10 months, nearly 12, I think, lost track of time, where we thought PulseChain was going to be 2 months away. So rather than do long stakes, people thought, okay, I'm just going to do a short one, collect interest, and then when both the chains evolve, I'll take this action on one side and this action on the other side. So you've got more flexibility. So I think a lot of people just started cycling stakes in a holding pattern. So you might see that behavior changes a lot now. Or people they might use one chain for the longer stakes and one chain for shorter rotating stakes. So I don't know how it's all.
What you're saying makes sense. I mean, why would you do short stakes on Ethereum? Like it just doesn't make. I mean, you could also think
it does if they're large enough.
Why would you do long stakes on Ethereum? It's going to be so expensive. So it's like, why use Ethereum at all, as well? Like there's that
because there's lots of value there.
That is true. This is true. I mean, do you think we're going to see people bridging their Hex over to Pulse? Do you think we're going to see like the E-Hex bridged over, and then maybe
if the OA bridges a whole lot and makes the E-Hex P-Hex pair super high in liquidity, I think you're going to see a lot of people pulling their E-Hex over to Pulse. Yeah, it's just a better. If it's a better user experience, if it's cheaper and faster, of course they're going to do that.
Well, I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter. You know, a lot of people talking the talk about there'll be a lot of sell off of E-Hex for P-Hex. I mean, I personally don't think, for me, it's not a great idea. I won't be doing that because I believe I've got a feeling in my bones that E-Hex is going to surprise us when we least expect it. So I'm just going to hold on tight.
It's funny how prices have a funny way of, when everyone thinks it's going to go one way or the other, it never does that. Like that's the same with the Bitcoin price. It's the same with like the Hex price. It's like when everyone's kind of like, you're thinking the sentiment in in the market is one way and it's going to head like this, it always has a way of not doing that. That's what I've kind of noticed.
Yeah.
So Pi Excellence is saying the average stake length will be lower on PulseChain. I don't know if you guys have actually had a chance to catch up on Tangent and Pi Excellence. They've been doing a stream on a Friday afternoon Australian time, which would probably be Friday morning US time. And it's really good stream on Tangent's channel. I think
I saw one of them. Yeah.
They're just talking about like all things related Pulse, and they go on their tangents. So
yeah,
it's a lot of fun. Check it out.
Yeah, I love tangent streams, generally speaking.
Generally, was there one you didn't?
No, just like some better than others.
So another milestone that we hit today, and I've got to confirm this: 300,000 stakers. Is that
wallets?
True, or wallets
holders?
So holders,
oh, yeah.
holders,
yeah. Addresses.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that's not actual individual people. Like people have multiple. And a whole lot of Hex was airdropped to a whole lot of addresses very early on. So that's including that as well. Yeah.
So I think that at one stage after that happened, it was about 150, 200,000 holders, I think, was sort of the net result of that airdrop. So would it be safe to say that we've organically picked up another 100K in holders over that period?
Since when, Jex?
Oh, that was, I'm saying 18 months ago, maybe.
Oh yeah,
give or take. Not sure exactly, but that was a while back.
Nice.
But I reckon we've lost a lot too, like with Bitcoin dumping, Ethereum dumping, Luna, bullshit UST. A lot of people who are inexperienced crypto think, it's not the coin value, it's the dollar value. I'm losing money, and they sell out. That's why the market just dumps. I mean, I've got people in a Hex who are exactly the same, and it's going down and I'm losing my money. It's like, bro, you don't understand crypto. It's like you got to hold. That's how you're going to make your money. You're not losing anything. You still got your coins. Like Trevon says, that video.
I don't know if that's a good one to reference.
Yeah, it's a good one. Like,
you kind of did lose your money.
You kind of did lose money. But it's true. Like, if you sat through 2017, 18, 19 to 21, if only you had a hold, you didn't really, you lost USD value. Big deal. You could have regained that if you had a hold.
I sort of agree with you, but I think it depends on what you're holding.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot that just never came back from 2017.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And a lot of those were blue chip projects as well, or what were considered blue chip at the time, like your Neos and ontologies and all that sort of stuff that had a lot of hype behind them, which have just done absolutely nothing.
One year wonder.
Yeah, but do you feel now that everyone feels like they're in a bear market now?
Absolutely.
Everyone was in denial for a long time.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I actually thought, for a while there with Bitcoin sitting around the $40,000 mark, like, can it really go down to 10K? Is Richard really going to be wrong? But nah, I'm with Richard. I reckon it'll go down to 10, 11K.
I'm not that pessimistic. I don't think it'll get down there.
Yeah. I think we could see around the last, like the 2018 all-time high, 2017, 2018 all-time high, around that sort of level. I don't think we've got max pain yet. I
agree.
I think there's still plenty of tears of blood to be
squeezed out,
excreted.
Yeah.
Plenty
of buying opportunities coming.
Yeah, I think 20 around the 20, like give or take, 3 or 4 grand. I know that's a big window, but
yeah, and I reckon it's a matter of perception as well on when you got in this market. So you've been in for the last cycle all through this cycle. So for you sitting on this dip now, you're like, yeah, it's higher than what it was last time and a lot higher than the lows of last time. But I guarantee there's a lot of people that came in on that curve up towards the top, up to 64K, and probably more jumped in on the second big boost up to 67, that they're probably feeling max pain, I would think now. Like they're underwater, probably by 35-40% underwater in a lot of cases. So,
yep. And I think there's not much new money coming into Bitcoin. Like a lot of people coming into the space, maybe they'll put a part of it towards Bitcoin, a part of their bag, because people tell them to, but they won't put much to it. Like, and I think that percentage of how much they put to it is probably going down.
I think this comment is like a pretty good comment if it comes up. Absolute bottom is when your normie mates tell you Bitcoin is dead. When your normie mates rage quit crypto, that's when max pain has been had. I'm getting a lot of comments about my hair. So I think I've only done.
This is the first time.
No one's seen my long hair. I haven't had like my hair's been under a hat. I've been wearing a hat for like 2 years, growing my hair because I just like the phase in between when it's growing and before I could tie it is just friggin' afro type, just out there. So
it's nice.
I be 19, thought I was a baldy, bro. I'm the opposite of a baldy. I have like hair, like a connection of hair that starts here, goes all the way down everywhere, and comes all the way back up to up here, mate.
I love long hair on guys. Just to say, I really like long hair on guys. And one of the things that attracted me to Richard Hart back in 2017 is he did have long hair, and it does look attractive on men. Just putting it out.
Just not long hair on the back, Sammy.
No, I'd rather near that shit off. Long hair on the head. Nice.
Hey,
lovely.
I'm Sicilian, comes part and parcel. Yo, it's all that testosterone. I went to a doctor today who was like telling me that I should have a vasectomy. I'm like, fuck no.
It's nothing. It's so easy. It's day surgery. It takes like a couple of hours. You're out of there. You got sore balls for a few days, and then you're sweet.
Why?
Sammy, forgive me if I don't take that advice from you.
Big time.
Can someone
been through it, have you, Sammy?
No, but I know someone who's close to me that's been through it.
Yeah, but why though? Why?
It's because if you don't want any more kids, like you get to an age where you don't want to have any more kids.
I'm a ninja. Fuck that.
Yeah, well, when you get to my age, you won't want any more kids. Believe me.
No, he means semen retention.
And yeah, I mean, if you're very sexually active and it might work for you and the missus, but it'd be a decision you'd have to discuss with your missus, obviously, because when they can undo them, but it's hard, Jacker.
No, this is one of those decisions that I'm making all by myself. I'm a big boy. I'm making this one by myself. I know the wife would like to have one, but
So you're gonna have it or not?
You've got to ask yourself
if
the Sens Foundation crack the nut and and we can live forever, you might want to go back and have another crack at that. So you don't want to go getting things snipped off and snipped out and whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Why? I just don't see the upside. I don't see the upside. Why? You know what they've got here in my part of the world? They've got like a doctor he's called Dr. Snip. And like everyone in like Victoria goes to see Dr. Snip. This guy's got dudes on a conveyor belt just fucking like he's just cut like everyone I've spoken to, everyone who's ever had it, it's the same doctor. It's like
where is he?
How much care and attention is this guy taking to do this surgery, like do this, whatever it is, whatever they're doing. I know it's really quick and easy or whatever they're doing, but you know.
Where is he?
He's just like a mad scientist. Mad scientist with a hairdo, just chucking nut sets over his shoulder as he goes back.
Where is
You'd
he?
also think that with probabilities, his probability of making a mistake, ironically, becomes more realistic the more he does.
Yeah, it gets more casual.
Yeah.
Is he in the city? 43?
I don't know. I've never got that far to find out where the fuck he is.
Yeah.
I don't want to know where he is. I'm not interested.
But don't you get it? So 43. So we say you'd like to have more children. Maybe it's not out of the question yet.
No, I just don't want anyone tying any knots around my, those tubes at the down.
That is why they get a vasectomy.
Yeah, I just don't want it. Like, I don't.
I'm with 43 on this one.
Yeah,
don't mess with things you don't need to mess with.
Look, if the wife wants to get, her things tied up in a knot, it's up to her. I don't think she's down for that either. By the way,
it's easier for the guy, and it's quicker.
Someone called him Dr. Fondle.
Yeah. I don't understand, Sammy, why you're so pro this procedure. Like, I don't get it.
I mean, I just think, well, for a woman, you get to an age, you had your kids, you definitely don't want any more.
Yeah.
And it's just an easy fix, really. I mean, for a couple who both agree that you come to a point,
There's some other easy fixes, which I won't mention on stream due to the nature. Like, this is a financial stream, so yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, when PulseChain launching, everyone, we should do a bitch tits on PulseChain launch now.
Okay, chat. Put your votes in for a date for launch.
Yep.
So we come
in
up
the
with
chat. What day do you think we're launching, or Pulse is being launched? What date? Let's see.
I'll put in.
By the way, I'm going to do something I thought I wasn't going to do, but I'm going to do it. Fuck it. So let me just do it quickly.
That's where.
No, something else. We've got like a four-way tie for Hexagon of the Week this week.
Wow. I mean, you got to think it'd be late May, early June, hey?
What happened there?
It's
just I'm saying early June.
Yeah.
You're having a few technical issues.
I'm trying, doing my best. What's going on? Come on.
These comments are hilarious. Ash Tree just spat his cuppa out. Finbear says, "You get one, Sammy. No thanks."
Yeah, I think you're in the wrong chat, Sammy. You're outvoted.
Lots of plum trees, a sheep, a two, a kangaroo, a clothesline, a back.
That's a knife. All I had was me undies on.
He rugged us.
Day 43.
You there, buddy?
Lots of plum trees, a sheep, a two, a kangaroo, a clothesline, a back.
That's a knife. All I had was me undies on.
Okay, I think I had an issue with my internet for a second there. Hexagons of the Week, guys. I'm gonna give my. I'm choosing Hexagons of the Week this week, and I'm giving. It's a four-way tie for none other than Richard Hart, Rackham Rochelle, RG3, and KNTX. I love you guys. I love you all. You guys, listen. I respect every single one of them for what they do, and I'm very thankful to all of them. So for me, they're all Hexagons of the Week.
How's your form? Gotta say, before we started, OG43 like, we're not talking about this.
We're not. That's it. That's the end of it.
We're not, man.
Next segment. Next segment.
All right.
Just give him the award and that's it. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Enough said.
Did anyone want to talk about the big sell-off today? Did anyone follow that up with the? I think Richard said 80, or someone said 80 was 80 million hex, or someone said it was over 100 million hex.
No, so I think it was about 80, 87 or something. I think there was a bit of reference to our old mate Knightley. That's why there might have been a bit of confusion where they brought up Knightley's mega dump of 150 mil back in the day. So yeah, I think it was around the 80 mil mark, which was a fair bit to drop the hammer on in. It was a couple of sells, I think.
Got a lot of slippage as well. Lost about 10% on each of those.
We've got a few people
dumb way to sell.
We've got a few people who've given their dates. Do we want to write this down? Is someone able
to... down, Jax?
Oh, do I have to? It's all gone past my screen.
Everyone doesn't remember it.
I'll read them out.
You're right.
I'll read them out. Okay, I'll read them out. Okay, I'll read everyone's out. So, and we'll get a copy down.
Everyone can remember their dates. I've called June 15th, so I reckon we're.
Okay, I'm not going to read them out because my scrolling thing isn't working. By the way, I'm on a shitty laptop tonight. It's so shitty. It's only got 4 meg of RAM. And it is struggling so hard right now. It's struggling. I can't even scroll.
You want me to read them out?
I might get a transcript after and we'll do it.
Yeah, better idea. There's so many.
That sell.
We could just use BitchTit. People just put their name in and
yeah.
Actually, that's a really good idea, dude. Guys, go to. Oh, did I just do that? Hang on.
They've already put it in the chat. Can't we just get all their answers and put it into the spreadsheet? There's heaps of them here.
Yeah,
if you go to
less work if they do it.
If you go to www.titbit.ch and then just type in instead of typing in a price, just type in your name and then type in a date. Just type in a date, like, 25th of June or whatever. And then
we'll give away a Hex shirt for the person that gets it closest.
Yeah, we'll give away something. We'll give away something. Maybe we'll give away a vasectomy at Mr. Snip.
at Dr. Fondle. So that sell, just out of interest, push the price 33% from the days open to the close. Yeah, 33% down to the wick. And obviously got snapped up.
Do you want to show it?
Yeah. Yep, can do. Just give me a sec.
If my computer allows me to do that.
Yeah, mine's doing something weird, but we'll see how we go here.
I think I need to close something. Hang on.
So depending on where we're taking it from. Yep. Lost him again.
Oh, we've lost him.
I think he's the only one that can. Oh, there we go. So assuming this was all happening in this one candle here, we pushed down 33%,
isn't it?
Yeah, and then obviously the got dragged straight back up 20%.
Yeah.
But hasn't quite fully recovered. I think we're teetering on an important point anyway. So that trend line there was sort of coming up to meet it, and it would have been nice to hold above that. So obviously either someone needed some cash in a hurry, or they're trying to actively keep us below that price. Not sure. Who knows?
Well, maybe it's just people. It could be people just trying to play the announcement of Pulse pump, that they think there's a pump coming. Then when they realize that it's not, then they just like go, they dump it out of it.
Yeah, possibly. Who
knows? Eh?
Sometime, and this is what I think's happened today, and I don't want to get into too much of the goings on, but people draw conclusions when it could just be someone, I don't know, they had a life event, they wanted to sell their bag, or who knows. I've seen candles painted and I've known the story behind the candles, and they're not what people expect or think. Everyone tries to put a narrative around something.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just sell because they're in the middle of doing something or got something going on.
Yeah, someone has a hissy fit on Twitter, the price goes down, and everyone assumes that it's that person.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's. I don't know too many people that are that malicious to their own holdings to do things like that. It doesn't make logical sense.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
no. The revenge sell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, who knows? Someone could have got themselves into a bit of strife on a silly trade or something like that. You never know what people's motives are, but more often than not, they're a lot less sinister than what people might make out.
But wasn't there a big ass billion hex stake come out like the last week?
Yeah, there was. I've got to be honest, I didn't even follow up to see what happened.
Maybe
What happened to that?
Maybe he was a seller. Big guy.
I didn't look into it either. I mean, I just kind of like all of this kind of noise in the short term. It's just like, you play the long game. Playing the long game, and that's when these fundamentals of hex just play out. Like all of this kind of
and
like short term whatever is just like
and let's face it, it's not just a hex thing. There's all the markets are they're in a little bit of a funny state at the moment. There's macro events that are playing out that, I mean, you go look at the traditional markets and they've been crunched recently as well. So it's
hammered, absolutely hammered.
Absolutely hammered, yeah. So
what did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of that tweet that I sent you guys about Almeida and what's his name, Sam Bankman-Fried, and the Bitcoin price and all that?
I've got to admit, I had a look through the thread. I was pretty involved, and I didn't understand a lot of what he was presenting. But it looked like some guy had done a lot of research and tracking of a bot that was moving funds around or something, or that was placing orders.
I think it was just like wash trading, spoof trading to try to move the price.
Specifically for OTC, they were saying that they were alleging that it was for OTC trades, pumping the price up so that people could do OTC trades, and then just not like I don't know how exactly if it's legit, if the claim is legit, and B, whether it actually happened or not.
I mean, that's free markets though. Like that stuff happens in every
exchanges.
market.
At centralized exchanges.
Well, it's not even but it's not even just crypto though. That is
it was on a centralized exchange, wasn't it? It was on
of course,
Coinbase.
Yeah,
it was happening on Coinbase with the bot.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if big market players outside of crypto in traditional markets, they all do this shit. Like they try to push things in their own favor. So it's not a crypto only thing that this happens. It's probably more visible on crypto because everyone can interrogate what's happening on chain when it does happen on chain. People can see movements and
but that's the point, isn't it? Like it's much harder to do that in something like, well, if not impossible to do something like that in Hex because it's all on chain. Whereas in these centralized exchanges, there's all sorts of stuff going on.
It's not impossible to do, but it's visible when it's done.
Well, but it's also, it will be so incredibly costly. Like if you're trying to like,
I guess the point I was trying to make is markets get moved by whales all the time, or institutions. They're trying to gain whatever advantage they can. So yeah, I know this guy he'd done a lot of research and was painting a pretty sinister picture, and it probably indicates that the markets were pushed around in the favor of that company for whatever reason they were trying to do. But it's not uncommon. It's a free market; everyone can do what they like. Just whale games, I guess.
And interest rates going up. The whole world is changing in the blink of an eye. Federal election coming up in Australia. That's a big deal. It affects people's decisions and, you know, how we think.
Yeah.
I've been so tuned out to the federal election. I haven't watched any of the debates. The only thing that was of interest to me was when someone wrote something during the week. I think it was on Twitter or something or somewhere that the Liberal Democrats were for like abolishing capital gains on crypto. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that's a movement I can get behind.
But on the flip side to that, did you see Portugal talking about? And I don't know if it was just a throwaway comment about changing their stance on.
Well, they would be getting a lot of pressure from the European Union.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it sounded like when you dig into that Portugal thing, it's only a proposal by someone on the far left.
It was I think it was a throwaway comment.
Yeah. I think it's a long way off any kind of actual changes happening.
It's the equivalent of what 43 just mentioned, where a political party comes out and says, we're all for not taxing crypto. That's fine. They could come and say that. But trying to get that...
exactly.
How that... that's been on the cards for years. They've been talking about doing that for years. Like, it's coming.
Yeah. So...
But, yeah.
I guess
we're going to form a committee and look into it for the next 2 years.
2 years,
and come up with some recommendations.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's... Sorry, Jackson, go on.
No, you go.
I was going to say that, like, I've the last couple of years, you know, at a federal level and also a state level, I've just been become very disenfranchised with the whole process and how just how authoritarian it became so quickly. So for me, it's sort of a matter of whoever is on the side of like just not restricting freedoms, whoever's on that side of the fence, that's sort of what I'm looking for. So I'm like, for the most part, I'm going to be looking in the upper house, just looking for like who can I vote for in the upper house? Who can I vote for in the Senate that is going to like block any bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
I saw one statistic.
It's at least going to provide an alternative viewpoint from the two majors.
I saw one statistic where I think like a year ago, when pollsters went around to people to find out who they were going to vote for and get their political views, it took they had to approach 3 people in order to get one person to respond to those to that thing. And they did it recently. Now it's up to like they need to approach 7 people to get one response. So I think a lot of people are very, very disenfranchised and a bit over the whole politics thing and realizing they don't have any choice between those 2 major parties. And like, I would hope that a lot of people vote other parties in this Australian election, especially those freedom parties. And I haven't looked in too much into which ones or whatever. And I don't think probably none of them are perfect. I think there was the medical choice. They looked like they were kind of okay. But yeah, like it's hard when you don't have much to choose from.
We need one rule, we just need one law changed in Australia, and that is crypto political donations allowed. That's what we need, like direct crypto, without that limit, like they've got some arbitrary limit of a few thousand or 1,000 or 10,000. I don't know what it is that you have to like KYC or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Cash donations or something like. But if they could accept crypto donations, then we'd be off to the races. Hey, we'd be off to the races with.
I think we're still a little bit small.
Actually, there is another party. There is another party that are running people the Citizens Party of Australia, and they have a couple of really interesting ideas. And one of those is turning Australia Post into a national bank. And that's a really, really good idea, I think.
Yeah,
Giving because that'll give competition to the major banks.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think I'm down with that. I'm just like, I haven't heard the detail of what you're talking about, but I don't think I want the government in they're like dipped in. I mean, look, you can go to if you think about it, you can already go to Australia Post and get money out. You can already go to Australia Post and pay your bills. So, you know, I think there's, for the most part, I don't know. I just don't think you need any government like getting in anything else. Like, we need less.
It's just that,
ignorance, not more, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. I can understand that point of view.
I was at Australia Post today, by the way. I have to say, Australia Post, like, apart from, you know, sometimes, you know, things getting delayed, compared to my experience in Italy at the post office, Australia Post is magnificent. It is fast. They are relatively efficient in the ones I've been in, at least. You know, I have been in a couple of places which, you know, haven't got the best managers in there, but apart from that, almost every Australia Post I've ever been in has been great. They're fast, they're efficient, they know what they're doing.
And there's Australia Posts all over Australia, in all towns all over Australia. And as these banks are closing their branches in all of these places, Australia Post is the only option for a lot of people. And so it's an absolute godsend that it actually exists.
Yeah. Yep.
For a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And like as I was saying, when I've been to the local post office in Italy, it is disgraceful. It takes so long. Like, so this is the deal. Like, in the place that I've been, right? You go into, like, I stayed in this town. You go into the post office, and there's like 20 people waiting, but there's no line. It's like just everyone like it's a small town. Everyone just knows who's next, and it's a shit show. And if you don't know the language, you're fucked. Like, there's no way. It's not like take a ticket and wait your turn, or like there's not like a clear line that you stand in and wait your turn. It's just like, you know, if you can't stick up for yourself, you're never getting to the front of that line.
That's what it's like in India. Have you ever been in India to a post office? It's an absolute just like push your way to the front and try to get someone's. It's like being in a bar and trying to get a drink.
When I've been in China, it's a little bit like that with sort of anything to do with waiting in line. It's like you need to be proactively defending your spot at any time. Like, you need to be like, you know, looking around, like, you know, like making it known
asserting your space.
That you are, this is me. I'm right here in front of you. Don't, like, you know, otherwise they just take it, but like, this is like this guy, you know, just walk in front of you. So where is Tangent? Hey, Tangent.
Yeah, he normally pops in around this time, doesn't he?
Did you want to do?
I think he said he was coming in. Let me see.
Yeah.
What's he doing, bro?
We can do the Bryce guess if you like. That's I've got all that queued up.
What are we doing?
We can do the guess the price thing. What's it called? I don't even know what it's called now.
I know. Yeah, I know. You just didn't want to say it, eh?
I was a little bit still a little bit foggy. Yeah, can't think straight.
That's fair enough.
Here we go. Been a rough week.
And it's bitch tits of the week.
All right.
Last week we had everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of you guys voted on what the price would be this week. So what have we got, Jexa?
I reckon we've got a few surprises this week. I don't think anyone could foreshadow what happened today or the last day with the price movements. I think that's thrown everyone for a bit of a sixer. But we're at 11.68. So Jerry here wins by default, being the lowest entry that was entered. So he's taken the cake.
What did he put in?
He put 11, which is pretty good. So we had 11.6. So well deserved. Ash, you're off your game a bit, mate. I think you were probably looking all right until we had a bit of funny price movement, but a solid effort as always. You were very close. But yeah, Jerry's bitch tits of the week this week. Oh, Tangent, you've popped in. How are you, buddy?
Yo, guys, what's up?
What's up? On time, on schedule.
Congratulations, Jerry. Are you in the chat at all, Jerry?
Good. So what? Ash could actually win this
again. Bloody hell, man! Unbelievable.
How late am I? How much did I miss?
An hour and a half. We're about to wind up, bro.
Oh, shit. Sorry, guys.
Timing is perfect, man.
Oh yeah, Jerry's here.
Where's Jerry?
Takes the win.
Where's Jerry?
Yeah. I can see him in YouTube chat. The internal chat has broken for me. I don't know if anyone else has got that issue, but I can see Jerry's just put in. And so, unfortunately, Ash, you just got pipped at the post there. Jerry decided to.
Oh, congratulations, Jerry! Congratulations.
Well done, Jerry. First time.
It's an honor to have you as bitch tits of the week. Congratulations.
All right, so let's get your votes in for next week. Hopefully,
I think pipped at the post might be an Australian idiom. It means like beaten at the last minute sort of thing. Beaten at the last spot.
It's to do with like horse racing, isn't it? They get pipped at the post.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's where it came from. Day 43, the haircut. I didn't recognize you, man. I was like, oh well, we've got a guest.
I've got to admit, the first time I seen Day 43 with all his hair, I honestly thought he was bald as well. So I was, it took me by surprise.
You saw me with a ponytail up here.
Yeah, and I must admit, I let out a little bit of a giggle, and I didn't because I thought you were taking the piss, but it was your hair.
You know, Jim Rat's doing that thing where he's not cutting his hair until.
I saw it. No, he's cut it. He's cut it.
Well, I think he might have cheated a little bit by just doing the sides. But I think the top.
I saw him on the stream yesterday.
Oh,
haircut and he's all trimmed and beautiful. Yeah,
bro. No conviction.
I think he just chose the wrong thing. You need to choose something that punishes Richard, not something that punishes you.
Punishes you.
Like.
Take the punish Richard approach.
Like, what would that be?
What would punish Richard? Yeah.
Oh man, I can think of a few things, but but we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't ever go there.
Speaking of punishing Richard, like when are you going to debate Richard? And by the way, I'm not sure that that's going to be punishing Richard. That could actually be punishing you. But
no, I wasn't listing that in my mental list of things that could be done to punish Richard. The things I'm saying, I can't say them. Not because of how terrible they are as an individual act, but it's just something we would never do. So anyway.
Okay.
The
green room.
I'll tell you guys. So the debate. Whenever he's ready, man. Whenever he's ready.
So you were like. You know, maybe. So I think maybe he hasn't responded to your call for a debate yet. I think maybe he's a little bit busy at the moment.
It's possible,
man.
yeah.
You know,
or he could be running scared.
I guess
not.
I'm going with the whole. Several times he's kind of put that invite out to anyone who wants to step up and defend Bitcoin or attack Hex or that sort of thing. Where he's just said, you know, anyone who's down to have a chat. Like I'll crush everyone, like leave a trail of dead bodies type thing.
Yeah, can I just clarify? You just said like defend Bitcoin or attack Hex. Are you doing both of them? Because I always thought that you were just defending Bitcoin. But
no. I was just using that as an example. I mean, look,
I'm supporting you on the defending Bitcoin thing. But you didn't start attacking Hex, bro. You know, there's an easy fix to that.
Bro,
there's an easy fix to that. Like,
don't keep me, bro.
ain't no attacking Hex.
No, I just meant as examples of times where he's just like let anybody step up against him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just trying to say it would not be unprecedented for him to stream with someone who without a specific, without them being like a specific freaking industry or a specific thing, or the fact that it's a hexagon or a non-hexagon or whatever like that. Like I've never seen him discriminate against any particular category of people. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, he got on stream with On Yaven, so that was pretty sporting of him.
That is true.
That was the worst interview I've ever witnessed, ever, I think.
You know,
I still think he was playing a character, that On Yaven. That I don't think that's a real person. It's a character.
No, he's
always
got
like that.
He had a business. Like, and his business was essentially blackmailing ICO companies and stuff. Like, he was there. He would make he would request that they pay him, otherwise he would slander their projects and stuff.
Damn.
Someone in the chat saying that
he's a piece of work.
Max Kaiser and Richard need to have a debate. Now, I saw a tweet. I don't know who it is, but I saw a tweet.
It's this new guy. The guy who
Someone...
tweeted it is a new guy who's just come on to be a hexagon recently and has retired because of Hex. And has been in Hex in the marketing space for like 11 years or something. Not in the general crypto market space for 11 years. And he set out a whole lot of tweets about he's onboarded Max Kaiser and had a whole lot of pictures with him and Max Kaiser and all this kind of stuff.
But that must have been bullshit.
I know. It must have been.
So I tweeted, I included Max Kaiser. I had all the Maxis in my original tweet that was to encourage them to do it instead of me having to do it. And so I had all the Maxis, because I just watched the Miami BTC conference. So I kept notes in case there were any that were slipping my mind, because you know how communities get so big. Sometimes you forget someone who's actually like where you're like, how could I have forgotten that person? Yeah, being, you know what I mean? Like, there's something that's really impressed me about
the obvious evidence. The obvious evidence about Max Kaiser, just to keep
go
a bit, is that Richard has been on Max Kaiser. Richard was like,
was he though?
Yeah, but that would have been well before.
Oh, that was
well before.
Prior to Hex.
Yeah, well before when Richard was a Bitcoin Maxi.
That's the difference, though.
Max Kaiser had him exactly.
That's the difference.
So Max Kaiser is not interested in discussing ideas or having critical thinkers on. He's only interested in having shillers on.
No, but you realize
that's the evidence.
The function that Max Kaiser performs in the Bitcoin community. He's a hype man. Like, so the things that he says, he's not there to win people over technologically. He is there as a hype man. I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing, but he's like, he comes through with he's
a salesman.
You know, Richard bags salesman. Richard bags on pomp for saying like outlandish shit that's pro Bitcoin. Kaiser's on another level. He says shit like Bitcoin is the God particle. He is so he's, you know,
he must be so deep in.
But he was the guy that they used to get on CNBC or something, wasn't he?
Well, he has got a background in finance, so he does. Look, I don't want this to sound like I'm discounting him as a total like clown guy who just he definitely has. He's intelligent. He's got a strong background in finance. He understands all the like anarcho libertarian talking points and can deliver them. But ultimately, when he sits down with people, I don't think the interviews are as serious as they're more just like, to me, it strikes me more like an infomercial on late night television where
he's pure shill.
There is a level of promotion there, but it's not serious. It's more shit. That's the best I can do in terms of you guys get what I'm talking about though.
I think he's absolutely nutcase. I think he's just
he has got an element of crazy, man, but I think that's a good thing. You have to be crazy to step up against institutions this powerful, man. Like a little bit. Like if you are very like famous or famous enough, and you are mouthing off against very powerful people that can just, you know, They've already, and these are powerful people that have already shown that they do not have a moral code as well. So it's like, of all the powerful people you can go and like mouth off against and upset publicly, this would be the category of powerful people you want to do it to the least. Like,
I just
if you care about your safety.
By the way, I just put IB19 in
timeout.
In timeout, yeah.
Yeah, do it, man. Ban hammer.
Yeah, bro. Ain't no hair transplants here.
Shit.
Par Hexcellence wrote proof of hair earlier in the chat.
Have you you've been growing it all this time and you're going to unleash it against Johnny Chaos and see who's got the best wig?
I think
Elon
Musk
have been
has got
growing it
proof
all
of
this
hair.
time because my first stream I did, I had like pretty much a shaved, like not shaved, but like a number 3 or something all over. And I've pretty much been growing it since then. So that was a couple of years ago.
Has any big news come out lately about anything that we care about?
Not really, apart from
sort of like, because I was just thinking like, you know, the Elon Musk thing or whatever, because he's got proof of hair. You know, it looks like his hairstyle looks like he has spent quite a considerable amount of his richest man in the world wealth on keeping his hair.
New hair. Yeah. Well,
Have you
there's
guys
pictures of him
seen
where he used to be going bald, wasn't there?
Have you guys seen the Asian version of Elon?
The Wish version of Elon Musk.
He's got an Asian doppelganger. He looks so like him. Someone's gonna find that. Like just the Asian Elon Musk. Look, we're gonna get this on screen.
Is he also like the richest dude in their country or like whatever? Is he?
I don't know. I'm gonna.
No, he just plays.
Wait, do you guys?
Elon's famous in China, so he plays Elon kind of in skits and shit.
Do you guys remember when there was an Elon Musk interview, and I think it was Jack Ma, and Jack Ma's just bagging the shit out of him the entire time. And my favorite part, he's like, "You want to go to Mars? You go up top of very tall building, you jump off, you go to Mars." And because he's basically saying it's a suicide mission. He's saying that going to Mars, you might as well just jump off the top of a very tall building. And he goes, "One-way ticket." I was like, "Fuck yes, this is sick." And that wasn't
Jack
the
Ma
only
was that
time he bagged him out. He bagged him out hard. Oh no shit! This guy actually does look like him.
Jack Ma was the Alibaba guy, yeah.
No shit. Do you reckon he's got a brother? Do you reckon like
Elon Musk could
half brother, half brother,
Asian,
half brother, half brother?
Elon Musk could definitely pass as a half Asian dude. Like,
we need to go talk to his parents, get to the bottom of this.
Yes, got to work it out. Maybe that's why they let him build that factory in China. JFK super chat. Day 43 is the Australian answer to Johnny Chaos. We need a hair twirling competition to determine the winner. Bro, I would never compare myself to Johnny Chaos. That dude is a stud. He's an absolute stud.
I think they used him for the model of Fabio, didn't they?
Well, he could legitimately be the most beautiful man in the world. So,
Fabio or Johnny Chaos?
Johnny Chaos, of course. Johnny Chaos. So what's been going on? Tangent. I mentioned your stream with Par Excellence.
Oh, yep.
You've been doing on Friday night. Trying to get people.
Yeah, so we're going to continue that tradition if we can, with zero pressure on each other. So every Friday afternoon, our time, have a little meetup and discussion. So we'll see how that goes. We were also the stream I'd had with Orca on Jim Rat's channel. People were also frothing about that, saying that was really good.
That was awesome, bro. That was really good. Did we speak about that last week, or was that after last week?
I can't remember exactly how long ago it was, but about a week ago.
That was really good. That was a really good discussion because he was pushing you to, like, he wasn't like just having a friendly discussion. He was like putting you on the spot, trying to get you to defend Bitcoin's honor.
I thought it was really good. And so it's super rare that I actually will post crypto stuff to Facebook, because on Facebook, that's where I sort of compartmentalize my online media shit so that I'm not annoying my friends who are non-crypto. You know what I mean? Like, so, because people will delete you for that shit. If all you have, because I'm so passionate about crypto, I'm always posting about it. And then people who are not into crypto are just like, fuck this guy. And they'll just delete you off socials. So Facebook's kind of where I do my non-crypto social media shit. But that interview, I actually posted it over on Facebook as an example of what we're doing over here in the space, sort of having mature conversations. And it was well received.
So you've clearly never posted one of our chats from the Hex Late Show, given that you're talking
not
about
on Facebook, not on Facebook. So Facebook, my posting to Facebook about crypto is incredibly rare. Like,
I'm joking around because clearly we're not like taking this too seriously.
Exactly.
Of course, if you guys have questions, but
and also it's signal to noise ratio, man. Like, as in, if I post a video where the content is all over the place, we're talking about all this different shit and it's not concise, and I post that to Facebook and people watch it, they might never watch something I post ever again, because it's not like that distilled value without all the noise. So, and then that means I can never post any of my own streams, because my own streams are never in that category either, in terms of not just like being all completely fucking random shit, all in different directions. So, yeah.
Oh, do you know who I saw who's done a stream recently?
Like new streamer, and one of the people who I recognize from the chat and on Twitter, and she's in the chat here now, Klaz. She did a stream. I saw a stream with you very recently. Cool.
Did you guys just start streaming? I'm pretty sure you did. If you did, shill it. Like, put it in the chat so people know what your channel is. Because,
what was the stream about?
It was about Pulse.
So this is something that's really good, is that as more and more people start streaming within the community, people can actually choose the streamers that suit what they want to hear and their stuff. It'll be like the broader crypto space where there's so many to choose from. You actually get to choose. Whereas in the early days, there was no choice. If you wanted to watch, content, and there were only a limited number of Hex streamers to choose from. And if none of them really, if none of those people resonated with you, then you either just weren't consuming content about Hex, or you had to sit through watching someone that might be, I've had people, rarely, but I've had people say, make comments that watching my streams is like torture, and they couldn't do it for more than like a minute. So like, but then obviously I've had many, many, many more comments that have been the complete opposite of that have really said that people really enjoy my shit. So it's good. The more streamers there are, the more chance that you're going to have content that people enjoy.
What I actually like is people are bringing their own interests into the space, like Jim Rat and Sam, where they're bringing that fitness element in, so they bring the fitness crowd with them, or they attract that part of the community that's into fitness as well. So everyone sort of finds
shit, yeah.
Jim Rat's been going hard, hey? Jim Rat's been going real hard, like streaming every day, and I think that must help the. I think that must help the YouTube algorithms, because he always comes up at the top of my feed now. Whereas sometimes other people don't.
You are right. That was a tip that was given to me a while back. They said if you stream consistently, you do better with the algo.
So he said that I saw on the stream that you're on with him. It might have been that Orca one where he said he's doing a 24-hour stream.
Yes. And like, I mentioned yours.
Yeah, well, I mean, I plan on doing one on Discourse Syndicate if they let me. And obviously I want everyone who's ever been on Discourse Syndicate, I want them to come on at least for a bit of time.
I'll come by for sure.
But as far as like, I know that for a second he like stopped and he's like, oh shit. But it's not bad. It's good. Like the more people streaming for 24 hours, that's fucking. Can you imagine if we had multiple
2 24-hour streams?
Dual 24-hour streams.
Can you imagine if we just had multiple 24-hour streams? Because that's how our fucking community rolls.
You know,
that's how it fucking rolls, man. People just go, fuck it, 24 hours. I'm just gonna stream.
Let's do it.
That's how we roll in this community. People.
Wait, for a little bit of one of them, a watch party of the other stream.
Yeah.
They do like a watch party on one stream. They're like, let's go see what's going on the other 24-hour stream.
So yeah, exactly. We definitely do that, especially if we need to tune out for half an hour and like catch some shut eye. Just put the other stream on and. Guys, I've just put Klaz's channel in the chat, so go and subscribe there, guys, because they've just started streaming. So go check that out.
Give them a bit of a like and a follow over there. They've got 42 subscribers, so let's see if we can boost that up a little bit and get them off to a good start on that channel.
And while we're getting you to do shit, why don't you click the like on our stream as well? We'd appreciate that.
Hey guys, I'm gonna sign off for now. I'll catch us all very soon. But yeah, thanks for having me on the.
Really good to see you, Jexo.
And we'll do it all again next week.
Thanks, Jexo.
See you, Jexo.
Cheers, guys.
See you, mate.
Bye.
See you, buddy.
Okay, so any thoughts on price? You know, like as in that you guys have seen in the Twitter space or anything like that, where you know, are hexagons generally bullish or bearish about us coming back down again to, like, you know, according to Wix, we've set in another lower low now. But the good news is we tagged that kind of that support level again. You know, are people panicking? Because I haven't gone on Twitter today yet.
It was just one person doing two big sells. One person sold like 40 million and then 47 million or something like that.
Oh, okay.
With massive slippage. There was, you know, like, who knows why they decided to jump ship right now. Obviously, there's plenty of rumors going around as to who and why, but no one really knows.
Yeah.
But it's not really. It felt like to me like it wasn't really the market sentiment. It was more just one player going, "I'm out."
Yeah. I mean, like, it's easy to read. It's just because you've got mad amounts of money doesn't mean that you're not a rookie. And it's easy to see something like a FUD element that sticks in your mind and you think, oh shit, what about if the hex price does like get absolutely smashed downwards at the fork or whatever? Do you know what I mean? Like, historically, airdrops have been bad for price. But in my opinion, this is different. But in my opinion, saying this is different is also very dangerous. So
what historical are you referring to?
Oh, just whenever,
like with Bitcoin, like with Bitcoin Cash, the net sum of the airdrop, like if you held Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, even after it dumped, you still have
not really
1.2 times.
Not really Bitcoin. I was more thinking of like the ones where it's sort of artificial airdrops. I know this is different because this actually is a fork. So like, you're right that theoretically it would be better to compare it against something where it's a fork like Bitcoin Cash fork. You know, I just noticed the other day, I don't ever say Bitcoin Core ever. Like, but I mean, obviously the market has decided now. You know, I was surprised. One of the Twitter accounts that I follow for like libertarian posts posted something where the logo was Bitcoin Cash rather than Bitcoin. And I was like, I did not realize this account was a pro Bitcoin Cash account. It's quite rare. Like, quite rare.
Did you watch that recent doco that was made by probably Bitcoin Cash people or people who are pro Bitcoin Cash?
No,
looking at that
so.
whole Bitcoin Core thing and how they did it and what they did, and
okay,
like it was pretty damning of Bitcoin Core, and when you like look at it, Bitcoin Cash is just, it works pretty well.
But
like,
they
I've been
would
trying it out. It's like,
but
it's
they
quick
would
and
be
fast, and
you know those docos that are like vegetarian docos and stuff like that, like where if it's being spun a specific way, documentaries can evoke
yes.
like it can evoke you to sort of like be like on one side if they're not giving a balanced view.
Yeah, but
So,
what that says to me is you have to go and look at the specifics, and they did throw up a lot of pretty good specifics.
Okay.
The way I saw it was
do you
Kim.com
remember the
tweeted
name
out.
of it? Because these days I'm actually actively trying to listen more to opinions that are opposing mine,
contrary to what you have. Yeah, that's a good idea, I think, because that's how you steel man yourself as well. You know, if maybe you are right, and Bitcoin Cash is way better. Bitcoin is way better, or whatever, blah blah. But at least if you know the other side's arguments, then you can know why you believe that, and you can have justification for it.
This whole thing where none of the maxis that I consider that would be capable of stepping up against Richard are doing it. I was thinking more deeply about that, and I think that is part of the reason that. So imagine yourself hardcore Bitcoin maxi, right? Your entire time in the crypto space, every single coin that has ever said we are better than Bitcoin has failed hardcore. And that's the case. Thousands of coins have come and gone, said that they are better than Bitcoin, and it has never happened.
Well, it depends how you measure that. It depends how you measure that. Like Bitcoin Cash has made technological advances on Bitcoin that are better than Bitcoin.
Are you saying like the privacy shit that they implemented, some like privacy by default
they've got
stuff
they've got all sorts of shit going on over in Bitcoin Cash. But just the fact that you can make a very small transaction and hardly pay anything for it, and it be super quick, that is better than Bitcoin in terms of functionality.
Is
and
that
so,
not
the price didn't.
Isn't that partly because not many people use it?
No, I think it's the technology, from what I understand.
Okay. So that we don't go off into actual like trying to argue about specific coin examples. Let me just say, from the mindset of a Bitcoin maxi, even those examples wouldn't count, because in their mind they still count.
Price.
They still count those for whatever reason. They're like, no, fail. And then something like Hex comes along that actually is better this is also for the purpose of argument, right? That
the store of value, you're saying, yeah.
For whatever reason, something comes along that actually is better. It would be very difficult for them to believe that is even possible until it is very well established that it is actually better. So, like, as in, they're just gonna. So I'm saying that you have to forgive them for just basically immediately writing off any non-Bitcoin project without actually looking into it deeply. And if you don't look into Hex deeply, it's easy to just write it off as a scam. Like, it's easy to just, do you know what I mean? Especially with the initial marketing, and there's things that they can point to where they're like, this does not even deserve my time of research. So I'm saying, if we assume that Hex is actually better than, or going to become better than Bitcoin, it is going to be like mind-breaking for Bitcoin maxis that have been able to easily and correctly write off every non-Bitcoin project as nonsense, shitcoin, scam coin, just not worth the time of day, definitely going to fail relative to Bitcoin. So I think it's something I want to highlight to the Hex community is this is not easy mode. This is not like this will be new to everyone if a product or project can prove itself to actually to take the fucking crown. It's not a like, oh yeah, we've got something that's better than Bitcoin. It's massive. It's actually like it's a first time ever in the industry.
Yeah. Yep. Because they're treating it like every other thing that's tried.
Exactly.
Exactly. But it's just so different because
they looked at the surface of it. They looked at the marketing and they just made initial judgments, and they haven't bothered to dive deeper than that.
But everything else that's tried has been a layer one, has just been like a network. Whereas where Hex is different, it sits on a network.
But I mean, but thousands of things have tried in all various different configurations and.
Yeah, absolutely. That is true.
And obviously, when you start to drive some of these,
very small percentage have gotten like anywhere near, like for example, being in the top 10. Like there's a very, very, like there may have been thousands, but how many things have actually ever been in the top 10?
That would be an interesting stat. The number that, because there would still be lots. There would still be lots, dude. The number of coins that have rotated in and out of the top 10 is also huge.
You would, yes, but you would have to have some sort of like, okay,
filter.
You need to be in there for like
for longer than yes.
Not just in there for like.
I think there was this
game.
Do you think a better way of ranking?
Coin? There was this one called 42 coin where they only had 42 coins. So it was like, so there was a project called 42 coin where they only had 42 coins, right? So you know how Bitcoin's going to have 21 million or thereabouts, just under 21 mil top cap. This one only had 42, but obviously because each one's divisible to 10 to the 8, it's still ample divisibility, right? But it made the coin more expensive than Bitcoin because there's only 42 of them. So it was just hilarious.
Do you think a better way to actually measure these, like these coins against each other, is literally price performance? So rather than market cap, shouldn't we be looking at, like, let's say the 2 year?
Unfortunately, scams can pump, man. Like, look at the chart of Bitcoin before it melted down.
Yeah, so you measure it by the 2 year price increase. Like, give it 2 years.
Yeah, I guess you could refine the filters that you guys are talking about, whether it's the one about going in the top 10 and those sorts of things. You would just refine the filters based on history to make sure that you're eliminating the majority of the noise.
Yeah, because market cap is just so gameable. It's like you can just, you know.
So
and that's been
price,
like demonstrated by Hex as well.
Price performance over 2 years. The problem is we'd have to go and look and see whether there were any Ponzi's that lasted more than 2 years.
5 years.
So yeah, I think. I mean,
it's going to cut out a lot of
say
coins.
Say you did 4 years because that's what was perceived to be the cycle that started based on Bitcoin halvings. So I think 4 years, which unfortunately means that Hex doesn't have a stat on it yet.
We don't. Yeah.
It's a lot. Look, it's a long time to miss gains, because sometimes the best gains are when you get the project right at the start or near the start. So while I think you're right that would be an excellent stat for
you could
the
even
purpose
do
of
like
this discussion, if you were using it as a buy signal, you would miss a lot of projects.
You could even do the 1 year increase, 2 year increase, 3 year increase, 4 year increase, and 5
and have a table,
and then have a well either or that or just weight them. So 5 year increase is worth way more, and 4 year increase is worth a little bit more, and 1 year increase isn't worth as much. And so your weight, and so if the longer you had, the more weight you could have.
So you're saying that net score would be damaged on projects that don't have enough data to get the full 5.
Yeah, it'll be advantageous the longer you go
with a high gain. I think the problem with that, like I like the sentiment, but I think the problem is that you're going to always have projects that are going to benefit or be disadvantaged variably by the time period that you're selecting. So like if the gaps are yearly, then there'll be some projects that are advantaged and disadvantaged. And then if you say, let's look at this and because of the volatility within the market, not just day to day, but also like year to year, and the crazy things that just the ranges that some of these things move through, it would be difficult to get I think it's difficult to get something that is a really good way of comparing projects. And then ultimately, price is not the ultimate determinant of
value,
success, and value, and that sort of thing, right? Like,
it isn't, but it is way more important than people like. That's really what
it is. Way more important. It is way more important because it's what most people search for.
In terms of store of value is the best, like use case of cryptocurrency.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Actually, I agree with what you're saying.
And store of value.
I agree with what you're saying. That basically price, even if what you care about is like freedom and all this other stuff, it is underpinned by the price, because if the price doesn't perform, then you're not saving anyone. Like it's
Yeah. This is a good comment, like by Johnny Chaos. If it shows up, yep.
So price is critical. Yeah.
There it is. No matter the rules, they can always be gamed. The other issue is for people to accept new metrics. Yeah, because like
it all comes down to social consensus.
A new way
Absolutely.
a new way of ranking things. Like, is anyone apart from the people who made that new ranking system going to look at it? Like everyone.
Yeah.
Say about it. You know?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to. I think, like, I mean, you could even say things like community participation. Like,
man, massive.
You know, that is
engagement.
Yeah, engagement.
Metrics.
That's a big deal as well.
Yeah,
that is a big deal. But it's not something that you can work into it really, because how would you even work that
and then as soon as you start, you have to make judgments about how much you weight this metric or that metric in terms of the overall value metric kind of thing.
Do you know what the real metric is? How many Lambos get bought? Like Lambos per 5
Lambos per coin.
Lambos purchased. Lambos purchased.
What's the Lambo ratio?
Proof of Lambo. Shit.
Hey man, so how's all your Bitcoin Lightning stuff going?
Well, actually, yeah. Okay, so I started trying to say this before in terms of like a compliment to the Hex community broadly, right? And it's sort of in two parts, but I'll do this one first because you brought it up. In Bitcoin, I have asked for help with my Lightning node in the sense that, so to be clear, I really tried my best to use the internet to find the answer to this before just going and asking people for help, right? Like I tried to solve this myself. But I got to a point, I've got a situation, just very briefly. I've got a Bitcoin node that I decided I want it to be the full history. So I was running my Bitcoin node. It was what's called a pruned node, where it's not the full history. And I was like, no, I want to do this right and have the entire.
How many gig is that? How much is a prune? How many gig is a prune node?
So the pruned node, you choose how much you want to cut it back to. Like, so that's a variable. You just say how much history you feel comfortable showing that people wouldn't be able to screw you over. So, and then, if you want the full history, it's about 400 gig. So it's not that big. It's not that large for the coin that has been around the longest.
A terabyte SSD will get you by.
And by the way, this is part of the argument, Bluey, going back to the whole BCH argument thing, is this was part of it in terms of propagating blocks around the world and not letting the node get so large that you can't have home users in poor countries being able to store the blockchain. Is all part of that whole like big blocks debate. But anyway,
do we actually know what the BCH like blockchain size is?
Well, the blocks are variable up to 32 meg per block. But I haven't, lots of their blocks were completely empty. Heaps of empty blocks.
It would just be empty.
So anyway, my Bitcoin node is syncing the full history, and that takes a while. And
about 500 gig.
My Lightning node, 400 gig, just over 400 gig.
Yeah.
But when you're syncing a node, you have to remember it's not just downloading. So your internet is fast enough to download 400 gig in like less than a day, obviously, like way less. But what happens is when you're syncing a node, it's not just downloading the data. Your node is actually going through and actually like verifying the blocks that download. It verifies every block. So it's the speed bottleneck is not your internet speed. It's everything. It's like your processing power and how fast your storage can write, and it's just all sorts of shit. So
my Raspberry Pi one took ages, man.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here with my Lightning node uses my Bitcoin node for its information about what's going on the chain, right? So my Lightning node is down while that blockchain is resyncing. And because it's doing the full sync, it's taking an amount of time that actually does expose my Lightning node to the risk of people cheating me. Like, so in terms of with the way that the channels work. Well, sorry, I had Watchtowers turned on as a setting, but I never actually set it up myself, so I don't even know whether it is on or not. Yeah. Like it was a setting that was turned on, but I never actually messed with it enough to know whether it was actually set up properly.
Yep.
So fortunately, the people who are my channel partners, they don't know whether I've got Watchtower or not. They don't know. I could pop back up at any time and penalize them for trying to cheat me. And if you cheat and the other person comes back online and busts you for cheating, then you lose everything. So there is game theory in there where even though my node has been down for days, they still are running a risk if they try and cheat me. But I'm basically exposed, depending on whether that Watchtower setting works or not. My Lightning channels are exposed. It wasn't huge dollars, but it's got me like a little bit nervous over this period while I'm resyncing. And
but
so
they could leave your channel and they could
close the channel in any of the previous states that benefit them the most.
What kind of SSD are you using?
I think it's a Samsung. So it's just
like
that's where I'm storing the blockchain. But anyway, sorry. But the whole point of me telling this story is I reached out to the Bitcoin community and said, can someone give me the node details of a trusted node, like reasonably trusted, that can be connected to, that's public and can be connected to over Tor, that I can just use temporarily while I'm waiting for my own node to sync. So it's not ideal because you're trusting someone else's node, but it's better than just having your Lightning node down where you can get effed in the A. And literally every Bitcoiner that I reached out to, I tried multiple different methods of reaching the Bitcoin community to ask this question, and no one was able to help me. And I was like, if this was the Hex community, I would have like 12 to 15 people just immediately helping me, like as if there's like a 24-hour fucking helpline, helping me, like working it out or or finding a way to work it out. There would be experts, people who know what they're doing, immediately available to me to help me work through this time. And it really highlighted to me, you know this to be true, right? Like as in, there are people completely free that do not get paid to literally sit in various different areas and help noobs and anyone that's having trouble with anything to do with Hex or Pulse. And it's not like, someone could argue, oh, well, Hex doesn't really have like nodes to set up or any sort of like complex nerd shit. But there's all sorts of questions about like the sacrifices, and like there's heaps of stuff that people were confused about. There's some questions that can't be answered in terms of, there was times where we were talking about validators, and when you delegate to a validator, whether you can get slashed and by how much by. And so there were questions like that people didn't even know the answers to, but there were always people willing to help. And I just found with the Bitcoin community, I'm like, if there's literally no one that can help me with something, and this is not like, it's not a totally noob question, but it's also not like, I'm not asking, hey, like, how do I how do I recode, I consider this issue to be middle ground, right? Not a complete noob issue, because I'm trying to run my own.
Where can I find a public node?
Like, it's not a high, like it's like middle ground difficulty for people to answer. And there was literally just no one home. Like literally no one helped me.
The truth is probably most Bitcoin people don't know jack about running a node and all that kind of stuff. They're probably just fucking holders.
At least 80%. At least 80%, maybe more. I'm probably being generous. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But the flip side to your comment is not everyone needs to be an expert. There's this whole, some of my friends fear getting into crypto because they don't quote unquote understand it. And I'm like, you don't have to really understand it. It's like the whole, do you understand how your phone works? You still use a phone. So sometimes you don't need to understand the full stack to get involved a little bit. You know,
no, there are levels of understanding.
I'm just saying, I'm okay with the majority of Bitcoiners not knowing how to point their LN node towards a new node. Like that, I don't think that's a necessary knowledge to be involved in the community. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting for me, like, because I always thought that Bitcoiners did still have a community minded
to help each other.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Like if you want adoption, you want like, so let me put it this way. I've always considered myself to be on the evangelist side for crypto in general, being Bitcoin, Hex, or whatever, that I'm the person who is trying to educate and trying to help people. And this was one of very rare times that I found myself on the other side of that, where I was basically coming to the community for help rather than to give help. And the one time that I needed assistance with something, the Bitcoin community wasn't fucking there for me, like to help me do that shit. And I was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, man. But you know what? If you had a group of people that you vibe with from the Bitcoin community, there would probably be someone, but you just don't really have that, that community. And I just want to point out to.
But he's a member of lots of groups and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. But I just want to point out this comment here. You know, laughing about the knowledge of Bitcoin community, kind of sus when most people in Hex don't know what a blockchain is.
I already counted that with that comment that I made about mobile phones just then with Bluey. I already counted that. You don't need, like, it's not compulsory to understand the full tech stack to be involved in something.
Yeah.
Like there are people that go on like Sunday morning bike rides that don't understand how like the bicycle works.
I would actually say people in the Hexa community are some of the most
knowledgeable.
Knowledgeable people in crypto, like about DeFi, crypto in general. So I don't.
I agree with you.
That comment
I agree with
actually,
you.
Like,
because
stands up to scrutiny.
People within the community made it their mission to educate to a minimum level for people to not get scammed. So the motivation was, we need to protect our community against scammers. And so people need to understand. And then when you start to look at what you need to understand to prevent you from getting scammed or to minimize that risk, it actually ends up being quite a lot of the components of blockchain that you need to have kind of a bit of a grasp on, so that when someone comes to you with a newly worded scam, that you can identify that it's a scam.
Apart. Yeah.
So
this is a private blockchain. It's like,
right, so that you'll see more of the red flags. You'll see more of the red flags popping up if you actually have more of an understanding of blockchain. Yep. So yeah, I agree with you, 43, that our community is actually probably one of the most knowledgeable on it. If there was a competition of community general crypto knowledge, I think our community would smoke it, man. Maybe we should have a fucking quiz night.
I find it very difficult to make mass generalizations about communities. And I see that happening a lot. Like, you hear somebody say something about Hex and it's stupid. Oh, the Hex community are dumb. You see someone, like, you make these massive generalizations based on the loudest voices. And it's
really good point, man.
This guy Van Fink or whatever is like, why does Hex community needs to talk about other communities? There's no need. We're just a few dudes chatting about. Like, Tangent is very much a Bitcoin advocate, and so we often have these chats, you know, and like that doesn't mean that we're representative of the Hex communities or all their opinions. Like, you're going to find a whole range of opinions, a whole range of understandings about all this kind of stuff. It's even just difficult to know, like whole communities and what they're like, how knowledgeable they are or whatever. You've only really got your personal feelings about from your experience, really. So yeah, just want to point that out. Like, people often go, Hex is a cult. It's like, okay.
Yeah. People need to be more careful with their wording, because what they really mean to say is, I have observed some cult-like behavior from people who appear to be Hex enthusiasts on Twitter, would be a more accurate way of saying that.
Yeah.
Can I just say that that this comment here from Van Fring, I know we're spending too much time on this dude, but I just want to make this point that I think this demonstrates like at some level a misunderstanding of just what can be in a smart contract and what it entails. Just you flat out saying, oh, it's just a smart contract. It's like, yeah, I think.
And also, I'd like to say, I'd like to give an open invite. Well, I'd like to give an open invite to anybody who wants to be critical of Hex to come on and have a discussion/debate. Let's live stream it. Let's do it in public. Like, come on and come forward and like, I'm happy to hear what other people say, and I'm happy to go up against them in terms of a discussion or debate or whatever you want to call it. Like, and I feel like any of us would be, and so if you want to just like message us and let's set it up. Absolutely.
Do you know what? In my prep for the theoretical debate between myself and Richard, I have like gone deep thought on everything to do with that. And I just realized I would fucking crush in a debate against someone who tries to step to Hex now. Because I've looked at it now, I've looked at it from an adversarial mindset of how I would defend Bitcoin, like in a Bitcoin v Hex thing. So now I'm better at defending Bitcoin and I'm better at defending Hex by going through that process. So I would also like to challenge any motherfucker who wants to step up against either, but just be like ready to die. Like get your inheritance shit, in order, say goodbye to your loved ones, and then come and step to me. Either I will take either sides of that debate and crush.
I believe.
Like, sorry. I'm taking the pro side of either of those coins debate. Sorry, I don't mean any side of all four. I mean defend Hex or defend Bitcoin.
Can I just put? I want to put this out there. You know how you're talking about how you want to debate Richard Hart defending Bitcoin. I would love to see you prior to that debate with Richard Hart
crush some Bitcoin maxis.
Do a debate. Defend it, like just so that like we can see
like Tangent versus Max Kaiser.
Tangent versus
I would pay to see that. I would pay Hex to see that.
Tangent versus Tone
Tangent
Bays.
versus Andreas Antonopoulos.
Tangent versus Tone Bays.
Antonopoulos would never do it. He's already blocked me off Twitter just for having Hex in my name.
Tone Bays would do it,
too, man.
Tone Bays and I have met in real life. We partied here in my city, but I think
he wouldn't. But Tone Bays,
he actually wouldn't know. He wouldn't know that
he's not a worthy opponent. He's not a worthy opponent.
He only knows my real name, and then
Do
you know, like I know the Hex community shits on Tone Bays, right? But he was certainly instrumental in my crypto journey in terms of various aspects. But he also came to do, while he was in Perth, he did a speech at the university that I went to, like after hours, so the uni students weren't there. And this speech was really, really good. I don't know if he's got a copy of it online. I think at one point he said that he might put it online. But this speech basically, it goes through the history of Bitcoin from a looking for use case perspective. And when I saw this, I saw him do this speech live with the slideshow and shit in a lecture theater in my university. And I was like, wow, this really consolidates for me what makes Bitcoin so special. It was really, really good. So he might not
what year was that?
Oh, shit. It might have been 2017 or 2018.
And was it, had they flipped to the Bitcoin as gold store of value argument, or was it still kind of like payment system?
Yeah, I think this was.
Guys, we have to pull the pin.
Shit. Oh, sorry, guys.
Sorry,
dudes. Sorry. Yeah, that's my fault.
No, it's in about, I don't know if it's in about 5 minutes.
They're starting the next show.
There's Wake Up Hex, so we do not want to go over time. We'll give you guys a toilet break, about 5 minutes, and we will see you next week.
See everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and that should be an interesting stream. Just maybe stick around for that one, because
absolutely,
is KNTX going to be on that? That could be an interesting stream. Just saying.
All right, guys.
See you, everyone.
We love you in the chat. Thank you very much. We love you. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.